So, namaste and welcome to Satsang. So, welcome. And if you are new to these teachings, new to the community, you're very welcome here. And just a reminder that Satsang is for the highest discovery and the human kingdom, not just this Satsang, but Satsang all over the world where it's happening. Excuse me, it's the discovery of who we really are, what we really are, which is something beyond the mind, beyond the body, and yet also includes our mind, our body, our individuality, but not separateness from each other. We're not really separate from each other. There's really just one being here, and it's taking the shape of all of these appearances, the sentient and insentient forms. And satsang is to not only directly discover that, begin to experience that, but to come to live as that as well. And only when we authentically live as who we actually are, rather than this imagined separate person, this someone that we have thought our lives to be about, can we feel the peace that never really leaves, the peace that is stable, a contentment, which deepens into joy and a deep and rich sense of intimacy with all that is. And in satsang, we are gathering to not only experience this, but live as it. Um, not to um, only think about it or believe in it, this real nature that we are, this one being that interconnects all of life. Because we've come to a point in our journey, if we're listening to these words, where the belief in something is not enough for us anymore. Of course, it is a stage we go through on our journey, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. But if we really want to find the peace that surpasses all understanding, all mental knowledge, it is really the discovery directly of who we are. And that is, as I've said, this one being. We're going to dive into a meditation in a few moments, just to try to taste and experience this real nature that we are. Because only by experiencing it is it going to have an effect upon our life, on your life, on what is real. And as we experience it more and more, we're going to find that it begins to impact our life, it begins to change our orientation. We begin to let go of any seeking, striving, struggling, and more able to rest as that being that we really are, in which the body and the mind and the manifestation is just moving by itself. So we're going to do a meditation, and I'll guide us along. And you can do this meditation with your eyes open or closed, whichever you prefer. And there's no particular way that you have to sit, just as long as you can be comfortable for 15, 20 minutes while we dive deeper into under the surface of the mind and the body and into an experience of what's really real. And you can't get this wrong. So there's no need to try or effort with this. We're just going to begin by making sure you're as comfy as you can be for this time. And we'll start by taking a few deeper breaths, just taking a moment to breathe consciously. And as you're breathing, just allowing your chest and your belly to move. Usually when we breathe, we're only breathing with our chest or our belly. And for the fullest, most nourishing and relaxing experience for our body with the breath is for both the chest and the belly to move at the same time. So not forcing anything, just gently encouraging a deeper, more fulfilling breath. And as we inhale and exhale, we notice the movement of our chest, our diaphragm, and it's contrasted against something that is simply here, simply being. Our body, our mind, the human part of the human being we know very well. But there's also something here that is just being. It isn't doing anything. Whatever observes the body and mind, the breathing, is just simply here, noticing that part of you that is just being, isn't doing. It's not active or inactive, it just is. It's just here. It's bringing attention to the sense of just being here. As we allow attention to just gently rest in just being, enjoying how it feels to just be. We are simply being ourselves. The mind might be doing something, moving, thinking. The emotions may be moving. The body itself might be restless. But there's something here that we've just called I or me that is just being. It's already quite still. And all we're doing in this meditation is simply noticing that. Just noticing there's some part of me, of you, that just is already. Very quiet, very still. It just is. And if at any time your attention wanders away from this sense of just being into something that's doing, maybe a thought moving, some energy rising, a sound in your environment, or some emotion moving, can simply just come back to the sense of being, the beingness in which all of this is simply happening, simply coming and going. Just noticing the beingness that's constantly here, constantly content in itself. Just noticing the beingness, whatever that is, just noticing it. It's here, it's complete, it's already at rest. This beingness isn't definable, but we can experience it directly, just noticing this is what we really are. Before the body, before the mind, this beingness is here. And if at any point you find that your attention is drawn to thoughts or sounds or sensations, you simply bring it back when you notice to the beingness itself, just resting as beingness. Just gently sensing into that which is here already and is our essential nature. Naturally, as we notice the beingness, the mind can begin to relax a bit, the body can begin to relax a little. There's no thing to achieve here. We're not trying to get anywhere with the meditation. We're just noticing beingness. It's already here. And as we notice that something is already just being, something about us is already just here. We can begin to step away from trying to get somewhere, trying to achieve, and more just resting as beingness that is already free, already peaceful, already quiet. Our meditation is simply a love affair with what already is here about us. A chance to just rest and notice this beingness. And gently checking if your attention has wandered away from beingness to some phenomena moving, changing. Just bringing attention back, resting on the beingness. And in a few moments, as we bring the meditation to a close, we'll begin to open our eyes if they're closed, begin to move around. But before we do that, we can simply set the intention that just because our bodies and our minds begin to move again, begin to interact, that we still notice this sense of beingness that's always present, usually in the background. But the more that we check in like this and simply notice it's here, the more and more obvious it becomes, the more it moves to the foreground. So whenever you're ready to, you can open your eyes if they're closed and take a moment to just come back to your environment. If you need to have a stretch, move around, have a drink. So I hope that you enjoyed tasting, feeling this beingness that is our essential nature. It goes by many names: consciousness, presence, silence, beingness, awareness, many, many names. But it's simply what we essentially are. It's not something evolving and becoming like our mind and our body. It's not changing. It's already complete. And the more that we check in, as we were doing in meditation, the more we can find that less and less we're trying to get somewhere, to reach some end point of our seeking. In our imagination, there's a place where we're finally at peace. But as we recognize beingness, begin to recognize that peace is already here. But we simply need to bring our attention to that which is already complete, as we've done today in meditation. So this is what began to happen for me as well, that the more I brought my attention back to that, whatever that is, that the more it began to become more obvious, and the more I noticed it during the day, even when I wasn't meditating. And then something began to shift where the sense of who I thought I was, the person that I thought I was, the seeker on a journey to awakening, just began to recede more and more into the background. And this beingness became the forefront, the main event. And it's been like that ever since. And at some point along the way, as we simply meditate like this each day, as consistent as we can, somehow at some point we lose the ability to fixate on this sense of a person. We lose the capacity for attention to fixate only on thoughts and emotions and sensations. Somehow our default setting changes back to that our attention goes automatically to the beingness by itself. So just 20 minutes of this type of meditation, and there's loads of meditations like this on our YouTube channel, and just 20 minutes a day is enough to shift this habit around and We fundamentally change from a mode of seeking and trying to get somewhere to simply uh, noticing that which is already here and is real about us and is already free. It can't be caught in illusion, can't suffer, and doesn't even really need to wake up to the truth. It's already free, already awake. So we have some time if there are any questions or challenges that you're having in your awakening and you'd like to ask or to share something. We can have a chat if you raise your hand here on Zoom, and we'll see what comes up. Hopefully everyone isn't too um, blissed out after meditation. Start with Tanya. Hi, love.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, love.
Nice to be able to be with you again.
Yeah, lovely to speak to you.
Okay, let me just take a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I've been having this issue, um, and I know I've probably mentioned this in the past again, so I hate bringing it up probably again, but
Bring it up as many times as you need to, right?
I I'm having this issue again in meditation where, and it happened even tonight with you, that I was fine. And then as soon as you mentioned we're going to go into meditation, all of a sudden my eyes start getting heavy.
Yeah.
And then it's constantly happening. And I was getting very frustrated for quite some time. And I did give up on meditation a couple of times because it felt like I was trying to push through something and it didn't feel right.
Mm.
And then I had a good conversation with a couple of instructors and I let that go. And it kind of fell away for a bit. And here it is again, coming on strong. And again, I've mentioned to you before about this moving, so this rocking and stuff.
Mm.
So I thought maybe I was trying to be too strict and stern. So I started rocking in meditation and doing my pranayama because it just seemed to feel good and it didn't happen when I was doing that.
Yeah.
And the meditation still felt very right. My pranayama felt really right. Um, but then there's this thing that comes in that says, you're not doing it right because you shouldn't be moving. You shouldn't be doing rocking while you're doing pranayama. You shouldn't. And then this imposter thing started coming in. Your awakening somehow is a fraud, or somehow I'm a fraud, or and I know I haven't come anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I know that I can see that. And I get confused too with, like, the further I've gone into this with this fraud business, there are things that I'd also like to accomplish, like this business I'm trying to start. But if what I am isn't of the mind, the mind is coming and going in that, and I can see that very clearly, then how can I also trust intuition when it comes in? Because how do I know it's not of the mind or if it's actually a nudge to do something? Like, again, there's this like doing business, this fraud business, this sleeping business, it's all getting all jumbled up and I'm getting really confused.
Yeah. A simple rule of thumb that worked for me was If it felt bad, it was coming from the mind or the finite sense of a person. If it felt good, it was coming from the real self. It was an intuitive nudge to move. But the thing that really helped me relax into it all was the sense of if I'm not a person, then I'm not actually choosing in the way I think what actions to do or not do. And if there is no separate person, but just beingness here, um, then whatever needs to happen will happen. And even if I'm confused about whether it should happen or not, it will happen. If I'm confused about what actions I should take or whatever, still it will happen. And if something is not supposed to happen, no amount of activity will make it happen by the body, you know? So all that is a way to say that if you're not the doer of actions, then whatever the body's doing must be what it's supposed to be doing, right? If there's no separate being to get in the way of that process, which we're seeing more and more in our self-inquiry, and as we're resting into beingness or whatever we're calling it, there's more and more of a sense that things are unfolding and cannot really be stopped from unfolding. It's only our mind that says we have to figure out how to make that unfolding happen. But is that true?
No.
What if your desire to rest into beingness and to have your own business and all of those things are enough to just the desire is enough to allow the unfolding of that by itself?
But it's been like unfolding for eons, and I feel like I don't know if I'm just scared and procrastinating, or this resting and being and it's going to unfold itself is like, is that just a like uh like how's it going to unfold itself if I'm not taking action on something? Like, shouldn't I be, like, in some areas I feel like I should be taking action somehow, because letting it unfold almost kind of feels naive, like it's not just going to unfold itself. And then on the other hand, I've got this part that goes, well, yes, it is. It's going to unfold itself because hasn't everything already? And it's like I've got like this, and it's getting really frustrating.
I
I moved
totally.
away from groups and to be alone and going myself. I've kind of walked away from like everything again, and I'm starting to feel isolated, but I feel like before I was like all in on the groups and all in on everything I could get my hands on, and it's not like I pulled away because I don't want to be a part of that. It's almost like I went into the desert kind of feeling, but now it's starting to feel like everything's feeling distant.
So,
Um,
what if all of that engagement, all the meditation you've done, the inquiry and everything has worked, and now you've arrived at this place where there's two perspectives going on for you? The first is that, of course, everything's gonna unfold by itself. There is no person, as we were saying, no separate being that has to orchestrate what you want to make it happen in the way that we have thought. And to that aspect of us, it feels natural that, of course, everything's going to unfold. And at the same time, there's this other perspective going on that says, well, like you said, it's totally naive to think that, everything's just going to magically work out by itself. But that second perspective from the mind is coming from a place where it cannot see that there never was a person and everything that's happened, everything. has simply unfolded by itself anyway. Whatever's happened was what was going to happen. And it was never orchestrated, made to happen by who we thought we were. And that's quite shocking, isn't it? Everything I think I've achieved as a separate being, I never really did. It was always just going to be the way manifestation moved. And I can't claim credit for that as a person, a separate person. And the other side of that is true. Everything I think I've failed at as a person. The biggest one of all, of course, is awakening. We all think, we have to make that happen. Um, I also can't take blame for all of that hasn't worked out because it was never supposed to happen. So can you, for a moment, rest in that place where we can allow the mind's doubts because it can't see the clear picture of what's true. And it's going to freak out with the idea that everything is unfolding. And the mind says, well, it isn't unfolding. Where is it? Where's my stuff that I need? And all that's happening is for the fullest manifestation and the fastest manifestation of what we want. So, the business that you want and the awakening that you want and the feelings you want. And the real self has to shake itself free of this idea that it's doing and choosing as a person. And that has to happen by this idea breaking down, right? Becoming so painful. Even the idea that you choose to pull away from the groups, you choose to stop meditating. Even this is part of the illusion, right? You see? What if all that was just happening and it's becoming clearer and clearer that the body's just doing what it needs to do? And if there is nobody here choosing in the way that we think there is, then once we really begin to clearly see that, what's trying to unfold can actually unfold unimpeded, much, much faster and easier and joyfully. While we're paralyzed with this idea that I need to decide what to do, it kind of hits the pause on manifestation, right? Because we don't know what to do. We think we need to decide what to do. So let's just check in together and see what you really are again. Let's just take a moment and notice that together, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's come back to some clarity. So, what do you find when you look for yourself?
Nothing. I don't find anything there.
Not a
There's
thing, right? Not an object.
no, there's just, I'm just aware that something's here.
I'm just aware. Yeah. What's here is what you are, right? Not a person, not a thing. We didn't find a thing, an object. We didn't find a someone. What is here? Is it formless or is it a form?
It's formless.
Mm, beautiful. And is it doing anything?
No, it's just there.
Yeah. Has it ever done anything? Yeah.
No. Oh no, it's always been the same.
Mm. So what's been making your life move? What makes your body get up and eat breakfast when it needs to? How is that happening? What makes it go to bed when it needs to?
I don't know.
It must be somehow that this formless you, from this, the manifestation seems to arise and just moves by itself. It doesn't need someone at the wheel driving the bus, right? There's just the unfolding, the movement of manifestation by itself.
Yeah.
That's how it's always been then, right? If there hasn't been, if you've never been a someone,
I've seen this so many times before. How do I know that just resting in here is going to be any different than all this pain that I've had, and
Mhm.
that it's going to be different somehow or at some point change?
Well, change is already occurring first on the inside, the recognition that you've never been the one that's been doing and trying and seeking and searching and reaching. That is the biggest change, the fundamental shift in the understanding and experience of who we actually are, what we actually are.
That's why I feel like a fraud. I feel that change. I see that change internally. I'm so different. There's
I see it since I've known you.
something
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
but nothing on the outside is changing.
I'm just
Everything is
gonna,
changing in here, but
yeah.
it's not out there. And I feel like a fraud because of it. Like,
You
if
want
it's all
change that is
real,
visible. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm going to ask you a really crazy question now, which are probably you might laugh out loud or um, well, we'll see. Would you know if that change is happening? And it sounds crazy, right? The change that we want. I want the business to work. I want the money to come in. I want whatever I want, right? And for me, in my own journey, I was so determined that this change wasn't happening that I couldn't see what was happening in my life. It was unfolding. I was so determined that it wasn't working. This awakening wasn't working. That I didn't notice the change that was happening already. Sounds crazy, right? So, can you be determined to see what is happening, not what you think is happening here? You see the difference?
you say that again?
Yeah, sure. Can you be determined to see what is happening in your life, what is changing, rather than what you think is happening? Like I'm determined to see that if there's a fundamental shift inside, it must be reflecting outside. It must be. And yet, in my determination that it's, in my insistence that it's not, I don't see it. That evidence literally cannot come right in front of your eyes while you're determined to not see it. And I just want to say, this one who feels like a fraud, can you find her? Is she a real entity?
No, I've looked. It's just a thought.
A feeling and a thought, right? If there is no person in the way that we thought, no separate being, can this awakening fail to translate to the outside? An inner revolution, if we are all of this, an inner revolution in how we see ourselves has to, must reflect as outer difference as well. If you're standing in front of a mirror and you move to one side, to the left, take a step to the left, can your reflection stay standing still? It has to move simultaneously. And it's like this with awakening. But we pick up a sense of a person again when we're looking, did it work? Did it work? Let me look out there. I can't see anything yet. It's not working. And that very um, acting as a person, a separate being again, is enough to distort that we can't see what's going on clearly.
Right.
So the simple takeaway from all of this is when you feel like a fraud, try and find the fraud. And every time you fail to find that person who's a fraud, right? and then be determined to see. What I did at first, that really helped me was to keep a miracle journal, you know. I started to note down even tiny changes, tiny changes. You know, if I had like £5 extra left at the end of the week. And that was a miracle for me at the time. And I wrote it down. I'd write down little things that changed in the manifestation. Usually we don't see them because the smaller mind says they're not important. But the more we notice how things are, even in a small way, changing, we'll begin to notice the bigger ways that it's also changing. You don't have to do it for very long, just until you're in the habit of looking for the things that actually are changing and noticing them. Yeah.
Okay. And when I'm doing my meditation, whether I'm falling asleep or not, I have continued to do my pranayama, meditation, and sutras all together. It's like one thing now. But it sometimes still is fine. But a lot of the time, especially lately, this movement, it just feels right or better, or I don't know. It just feels more natural than trying to force myself to. Is that okay to do all those things? Like, are they?
You're not even choosing those, are you? The body's just moving as it wants to, when it wants to.
It doesn't like diminish 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 it somehow.
It will when it's done, right? When it's served its purpose. For me, for the longest time, I was still very restless. Couldn't sit still at all in meditation. And it was quite some time before I could actually sit even for 20 minutes without, not that I was trying to force myself to, but um and I just had to accept that was part of my meditation, and I used it to notice, you know, the beingness that was like we've done tonight. There's something moving and changing, and the body's in motion. There's something that's just being, right? So it's even helpful for our meditation. Yeah. In the movement of the body, it can notice that stillness is just here, just being here. And it'll stop when it stops. And maybe it'll never stop. Maybe you'll be the sage that rocks back and forth, right? Does it matter?
No, I thought to myself.
There's been weirder sages, right, over the years.
Also thought that too.
Yeah, perfect.
Will that affect my pranayama any the
No,
rocking back and forth even because it feels so good?
yeah,
And okay, thank you so much.
you're very welcome. Thank you for bringing all these doubts and challenges forward because it helps us all, you know. We've all got them, so very brave. Thank you for sharing, love. Thank you. We'll go to Mitra. Hi, love.
Hi, Helen.
How are you?
I don't know. I'm better than what I expected to be, and I'm
Beautiful.
surprised by it. But also, I can't tell I'm in a good place. I don't know. I'm just confused. I was listening to, it's very similar to what Tanya said, but also very different. But I began to see what you mean. I think I began to see what you mean that it's happening by itself, but not by me,
Mm.
you know.
Not by
And
separate
I'm
me.
trying by
Yeah.
separate
Yeah.
me. Yeah,
It's happening by
I think
me, right? By the big me.
yes, yes. But I'm very confused about it. So it was very hard to ask my. It's been a question a couple of months. I've been sitting with this, but finally I formulated it and I wrote it to be quicker. Yeah, it doesn't reflect everything that is happening, but just touch on everything in a way. So I wrote it yesterday. I wrote that I'm not really sure where I am on this journey anymore. Sometimes it feels like the ego has taken over the process, but at the same time, I feel more at peace than I have in a very long time. Cannabis might have something to do with this, but the feeling of peace and joy actually started before I began using it again. Lately, I've been more focused on getting as much joy as possible from each situation. A couple of weeks after the November retreat end of seeking into freedom, I became more relaxed with daily practice. I started socializing more, even partying, and I was honestly enjoying it. Then suddenly the new uprising in Iran happened, and the violence that followed was shocking and very hard to take in. What confuses me is that I'm not suffering the way I used to before. What happened in Iran felt like it was happening to my own mother, very close, very painful. This time, I clearly, excuse me,
It's okay.
I clearly see how horrible it is, but the emotional pain doesn't hit me with the same strength. I keep wondering if this means something has truly shifted inside me, or if the pain is just so big that I unconsciously disconnected from it. I also feel a sense of loss around my old devotion, especially my early morning daily practice. I miss it, but I can't seem to find motivation to go back to it. I'm talking about my meditation, self-inquiry, contemplation, pranayama practice. All of this I stopped. Very little meditation happened, but nothing else. Instead, I feel like I'm floating in a kind of fog, unmotivated with the whatever happens, happens attitude. I'm mostly at peace. Some creativity is starting to show up, and I'm very focused on enjoying each moment. But sometimes this focus on joy turns into indulgence, addictive behaviors, and unhealthy eating, and that feels less like freedom and more like a lack of inner structure. But again, would that be the mind labeling it like that? I don't really know. I see a similar love of joy in my father without addictive behaviors, though in both of us, it's balanced by a strong sense of responsibility. For me, this creates tension. I'm afraid of letting go of that control, but at the same time, I deeply want to free from the heavy weight of responsibility. I'm kind of giving up to it. I'm just,
Given up to
I don't
what?
know, I'm kind of giving up to this sense of control. Yes, I read the last maybe paragraph and then I just explain a little bit
If
about
you
it.
can be a
Right
little
now,
quicker, that would be great.
yes,
Thanks.
right now I'm working with guilt. I feel when I smoke cannabis, I'm just working with that sense of constant guilt. I ask the guilt what it wants, and it said it wants to be free. But honestly, I haven't been able to even sit for 10 minutes to contemplate it. When the guilt comes up, I ask who is feeling guilty. This is what I'm working with at the moment.
Okay. So what sounds like is happening is you're in the honeymoon period, right? You're recognizing your freedom more and more, and something is just really, really enjoying that. And at the same time, some of the benefits that come with that is greater peace and equanimity. Even when something very disturbing, we learn of something very disturbing. We don't feel that pain in a personal way like we used to. There's detachment. Still, of course, we don't want that. Still, we want something different. Um, and knowing ourselves to be all of this, then even if it's something across the other side of the world, it still feels like it's happening right here. But we're not suffering in the same way that we used to be when we push against something like this. We can clearly hold on to what we do want from and what we would like to see happen, but we're not suffering in the same way. Our mind doesn't really understand how we could experience something, a tragic event in the world, and not be suffering. But there's contentment and equanimity, right? Peace that's there. Knowing that our suffering as a separate being is not helping anyway. Our pushing against what is not helping. But our knowing of what we would like to see is where we move forward with that. The mind will tell stories because it'll say that you should be suffering right now. Something horrible is happening. Here's the guilt, right? And some old habits of overindulgence arising in that recognition of a lack of control of a person. The idea of a person is seemingly thought it kept these habits under check, but they're arising again now, one last time, just to be seen that I don't need to do anything as a person about them. I can't do anything about them. And they will go on their own in time, right? In time, it will settle down. Some real routine will come back again with your practice as well. How you can speed that up is by not resisting this as it is right now, right? There's the beingness is recognizing itself and it's like stretching and yawning and just wants to have a good old yawn and have a relax, right? It's been in this tight little box of thinking it's a person for a long time. If it wants to have a little party and a little relax, a honeymoon, yeah, and it'll come out the other side of that and back into a deeper, even deeper curiosity about itself. It's coming not from any sense of suffering or trying to get somewhere, just a real deep curiosity to go even deeper into this. It seems like everything's upside down. I get that, but everything is completely the right way up, I promise.
So good to know. Because I really feel exactly as you said, everything is upside down.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm just losing control, but I also willingly want to lose control. And
Not even losing
I feel
control.
like a mess.
Let's not buy that story. You can't lose control when you never had it as a person, right?
I'm trying less to be controlling.
Not
That's
even
what I
that
can
one.
say.
Not even that one. I'm just recognizing that I've never had control in the way that I thought.
Yes, that's the right way of putting it.
And then everything can begin to rearrange itself in the way that we want it to anyway.
Yeah. I'm afraid of the outcome. Let me tell you this. I'm afraid of the outcome, but because I can, so sometimes I'm afraid that it's the ego usurping everything. Let me tell you this.
Can the ego usurp what you really are? Is there anything more
No.
powerful than you, beingness?
No. Yes, I can see
And can you find an ego right now? Can you actually find it?
No, it's just a thought.
Yeah, just thoughts floating around in beingness, belonging to nobody in particular.
It's it's it doesn't feel comfortable when you realize everything you think of is a story that is not true.
Doesn't feel comfortable for this old idea of ourselves, but for the beingness, it's liberation. Right? There's nothing I have ever thought to be true that was really true in the way I thought it was. Nothing about me,
Yes.
what I thought was true about me, has ever been true. That's shocking for the mind, but for the being, it's total openness and possibility and freedom, and just the freedom to watch what wants to happen anyway for me without my imagine push, push, push. Yeah.
I
And
try to be calm about this. All this feels like a mess.
I totally get it. I remember it felt like everything was upside down for a little while, but the very fact that we can't seem to put it back the right way shows that the doer is dead, right? It's somehow gone in the process of our practice. It never was there. It was just an idea of someone doing, an idea of someone controlling. And it's just we just cannot seem to make that happen anymore. It's dissolved gently in the beingness.
And what would you say about that sense of peace is here, but then all of a sudden the feeling of disgust is taking over of what I'm seeing in the world and also
Turn
about
that disgust
particularly, yeah,
towards what you do want. Instead of focusing continuously on what you don't want, notice what you don't want long enough to clearly define what you do want and see what happens. We're not agreeing with what's happening. We're just not letting our attention linger on it so that our body gets all tangled up and contracted. When we have the choice to, okay, what would I like to see as beingness? What would I like to see manifest in the world? And see what happens from there. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you,
thank you
love.
so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Good to talk to you. Okay, we'll go to Misha.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, love. Excuse me. Hi, love.
Um, my question is very connected to what Mitra is talking about. Um, I know that there are no others. I guess I know that intellectually, and sometimes I feel it completely.
Yeah.
But how do I feel connected to the people who are causing, or the beings who are causing so much pain
Mm.
on this planet, when I feel such a revulsion to what they're doing? Um, yeah, and it just kind of isolates me and kind of paralyzes me. Um, and I really want to feel that oneness all the time and not feel such a visceral need for justice. And,
Mm.
you know, so I'm not sure what to do about the intense separateness that I feel sometimes.
Yeah. That's totally normal. I remember feeling it as well. And so the strong emotional feeling um, is coming from, as I was just saying with to Mitra, a intense focus on what you don't want. And as the oneness realizes its oneness, as the beingness recognizes itself, it begins to focus its power. Not like you have power, but you are infinite power. And it becomes more and more important that we use that focus wisely to stay focused on what we would like to see. So we can notice what's going on. Of course, we don't want what's going on. We'd like it to be the opposite, probably. But if we can focus on what we do want by deciding that this is not what I want, but I'm not going to push against this. I'm going to focus on what I do want. I'm going to keep my attention coming back to what I do want. That's where the creative power can actually begin to go into play. And to resolve the feelings of separation, it's really because when we're looking at the world and we're rejecting something or we have some intense negative emotion coming about some actions that human beings are doing, then those emotions are really coming because there's a deep sense within us that these beings should do something different right now than they're doing. And of course, we would like them to behave differently. There's all things that we would like to see disappear from the world, types of behavior, ways of hurting and harming each other. But it's not actually true, as much as we'd like to believe it's true, it's not actually true that they can change right now in this moment. So this idea that they should and must change, we have to realize that they cannot change, just like we were. They are as lost in their thoughts as we were. We're coming out of that right now. But they still believe that they're separate beings, that they're alone, that they're unsafe, that they're not good enough. And therefore, their actions have to come from that very low level of consciousness. And there's only a certain amount of actions that are possible from there. If we hold on to this idea that they should be different than they are, then it's only going to cause us pain. Paradoxically, as we begin to realize that they cannot be different in this moment than they are, and simultaneously hold on to what we do want. I know they can't change right now, but this is what I would like to see in the next moment. Then we're in a place of power because we're not pushing against what is. What we're really saying is how reality is right now is not how it's supposed to be. We might think we're pointing to one person and saying, this person should be different than they are. But really, in effect, with our energy, what we're saying is, you, me, this, that, everything is not how it's supposed to be. That's what really hurts, right? That strong sense of separation inside.
Yes, definitely.
So I had to really look at this. Can someone be different than they are in this moment? Can their actions, thoughts, and words be different in this moment? Or how they're behaving, thinking, and speaking, the highest manifestation that was possible in this moment? And as we realize that the highest possibility is always manifesting and every moment, as we realize that a higher possibility is available. So we're not condoning, accepting, or liking what's going on. We're just not insisting energetically that it should be different now. We're understanding everyone is lost in their own thoughts. Everyone is separation patterns playing out. Everyone is, that you see running around is a survival mechanism, just trying to survive.
Yeah.
It's only when we start to actually come out of that we can have a real conversation. As we begin to recognize that they cannot be different. It's not that they won't, they simply cannot. Then something softens within us. And then there's a possibility, because while I'm pushing against my world and saying this is not how it should be, it has to stay the same. Not that we're doing it as a person, but if there's conflict in here, there's going to be conflict out there, right?
Yes.
So as this begins to become clearer, and it took me a while to see this, that nobody can be different, not the people out there doing those things, not myself. Right now, this is how I've already shown up. This is how they've already shown up in manifestation, their mind and body, and it can't be different than they are. In the next moment, there's every possibility of them changing. If I'm not holding them in this box in my thoughts, right? They should be, how they are is not how they should be. This is how they are right now. There's no point fighting that because it's already manifested. And yet we all put so much attention on energy on that, right? Pushing against what's already happened. So all I'm saying is, if we can recognize that you cannot change, if you built a wall and put the bricks together and cemented it, there's no point in saying I shouldn't have done it like that because that's how it's done. It's built that way. But now we're going, okay, the new wall, the next wall, we'd like it to be like this. And then there's a creative opportunity there and a power, especially when the beingness is starting to recognize itself. It's starting to recognize it is everything. And that comes with a tremendous potential for change. And that would happen instantaneously, if we could somehow all of us realize that pushing against what's already shown up, what we're already seeing, is futile, right? But of course, we can want what we'd like to see in the next moment, the unfolding as it continues. You get a
Okay,
sense of it?
that's very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do definitely have a problem with my ego. Obviously, every ego is a control freak on, different levels, but it definitely wants to fix everything and feels guilty when I'm concentrating on awakening, there are so many people suffering and all that, but it's all thoughts, it's all just ego. I need to stop resisting, and it is hard for the ego to just let be.
Well,
So
it's
yeah,
a not letting be machine, right? Whatever is happening, even if you're blissed out, it would say you're not blissed out enough. It would
true.
push against that somehow.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
can see it just as an impersonal thing. It's just a mechanism that rejects what is,
Yeah.
and we don't have to go to war with that even. It's
Yeah,
doing
it's
exactly what
actually
it's designed to do, right?
yeah,
It's
exactly.
designed.
That's what I
Yeah,
was gonna say. It's
yeah,
actually perfect. It's doing its perfect job.
yeah. But we
I
can
just don't
see
need to
that,
participate.
yeah, we can see that that doesn't actually work. To push against what is doesn't actually work to make things
Yeah.
better.
No,
So
never.
without rejecting that, we can just go, it's old software, right? It's old software. Are going due for an upgrade
Yeah.
and in how we think. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you so much.
thank you. It's everyone's question, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I
I'm
have
sure right
peaceful
now
in my
with everything. Yeah.
meditation and then I switch the TV on and whoa. So
Yeah, exactly.
so
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much,
thank you.
Helen.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to Rob and then we'll finish with Amna. We should have time. Hi, Rob.
Hi, Helen. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, I can, yeah.
Hi. It's been a long time. I think I spoke to you about 3 years ago.
Wow, yeah, yeah. Gosh,
And
yeah,
I've
it must
still
be
been
about
listening.
3 years. 3 years.
Yes. And yeah, watch all your videos. I'm just so grateful for you and the group and everything else. And
Thank you.
I'm just too nervous to put my hand up usually, but I was feeling a lot of fear coming up in just the last year.
Yeah.
And jealousy issues and all. Oh, it's just been a nightmare, actually.
Mm. Yeah.
I was just wondering if I could do some self-inquiry with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You want to just take a minute first? Yeah, maybe just take some nice deep breaths and yeah, there's no rush, right? So whenever you feel ready, you can just take a look at what you find. What are you? No right or wrong answers here, just exploring.
Yeah, I can feel that awareness.
You can or you can't, did you say?
Yeah, I can feel it.
Okay, yeah, wonderful,
I
wonderful.
don't, I don't find a me,
Mm.
but the
Tell
me
me.
is showing up very strongly in the body with sensations and
Mm.
stuff like that.
So is it a me then, or is it some sensations, some emotions, some thoughts? Is that what we've always been calling a me, a person? Just some
Yeah,
thoughts, emotions,
yeah,
sensations.
exactly. Yeah, sensations for sure, and emotions. Yeah, I know me.
And this awareness that you find, tell me about that. Is it suffering right now? Awareness?
Feels like it is. I know it's not.
Mhm. So there's awareness and emotions, right?
Yes,
And the awareness, can it push against these emotions?
no,
Does it have any preference that these emotions even disappear?
no,
Yeah, beautiful. And does awareness mind if our mind is thinking about stuff? Does it need the
no,
mind to stop?
no.
Beautiful. Has there ever been a person then, or have you always been awareness?
Always awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And is awareness affected by anything that goes on in the mind and body at all?
Not at all.
Beautiful, beautiful. Maybe then it's the mind that says, the mind that's talking about the mind, saying it needs to disappear, right? The mind has got this idea that it needs to change or disappear. Awareness doesn't really care in that way, right? It's not trying to get rid of anything.
No.
How you feel now in the body, you feel a little calmer?
Yeah, I always feel calmer listening to you.
Is it listening to me, or is it somehow touching into your real self?
Yeah, touching into our real self.
Because you're not really listening to me right now, right? You're listening to you right now.
That's right.
Same, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm only saying that because the mind will say, oh, you can't do this on your own. It's only when you're listening to Helen that things are calm.
that's right.
But I'm not outside of you, right?
No,
How big is awareness? How big are you?
it's endless, it's infinite, no boundaries.
Beautiful. So you're showing up, you're all these people here on Satsang as well, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And you sat in this chair and you sat in that chair.
Yep.
Yeah. So sometimes just checking back in like this again and again, just checking back into what's real again and again and again. Somehow in that checking in, we lose the ability to push against anything, even the mind, especially the mind, right? Or the ego, or whatever we're calling it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's paradoxically when it starts to melt away on its own. Like awareness doesn't even prefer a quiet mind. It doesn't need the mind to be quiet or the emotions to be pleasant.
Right.
I mean, we like that, right? We'd like that. We like the body to feel better. But where's
Mm-hmm.
that place? Let's just touch into it one more time, awareness, where nothing needs to change right now. Nothing needs to change. Yeah. Feels good, right?
Mm-hmm.
A place of equanimity.
Yeah, it's definitely there. It's just the mind. I think it's just coming in.
Yeah.
It comes in first thing in the morning before I'm out of bed at 5 a.m, and it starts up with a jealousy story, and it's
May-
almost seems like it's more powerful.
Maybe it's giving you something. Maybe it's helping you. A jealousy story. For me, jealousy was, you probably heard me say before, one of my best friends,
Mm-hmm. I heard that.
unwanted best friends for a long
Yeah.
time. And it stayed as long as it took for me to realize that it's just jealousy is only a desire that I'm holding in separation. I want something and I feel that that other person has it and I don't. Is that true though for you? Maybe your mind is asking you to look at this again from who you really are.
Yeah. If there's no me, there's no them.
Mm. What we can say is, what I would like to experience, that body, that other body appearing in me has it. And I'd like to experience it here too. And it doesn't have that separation in it, then it doesn't hurt, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm insisting, I don't have it, this person does and I don't, it literally cannot happen here. What I want so much cannot happen because I'm insisting, right? I'm awareness and I'm insisting that I don't have what I want. It has to keep showing up like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So as much as we don't like it, sometimes when the mind is insistent, it's actually really trying to help us. Please look at this for me. Please look at this story for me again.
Mm-hmm.
As awareness, please look at this again.
Yes. Just to allow it.
My desire is fulfilled there, and I'd also like to allow it here now. Thank you. Something
Mm-hmm.
like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have that sting of separation then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it brings up jealousy, brings up unloved in me. And
Is
I
that true?
questioned.
Is
Yeah, I
that true that you're unloved?
No, it's not true. No.
It sure feels true, right? When we're in that place. But again,
Mhm.
just using whatever is served up to us to check deeper what's really true for us.
Mhm. Yeah, resting as awareness. Yeah, it's impossible to be unloved.
Yeah. And the mind will still knock on the door of awareness saying, can you look at this for me in your inquiry? Because I can't resolve it. Can you? It looked like some bad news, right? Some story, but it's giving you something to burn in the fire of your inquiry.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Fuel for the fire.
Yeah.
And when it's all gone, it's gone. The mind can just
Mhm.
rest then.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Don't wait another 3 years, right? Let's catch up before then.
Good idea. Thank you so much, Helen.
Take care. Good to talk to
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Beautiful. Okay, we'll go to Amna and then we'll squeeze in Irina as well. So when you're ready, Amna.
Hello.
Hi, love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I don't know how to meditate and I couldn't experience. And because I have such a hard time with it, I resist it, like to even like listen, like look at the lesson and like hear. Yeah,
What's aware of resistance?
I am.
You just meditated. You notice resistance and you notice there's something aware of it. You noticed awareness. That's it. And now there might be confusion in the mind, right? And is
Yeah,
there something aware of confusion?
yes.
Noticing that which is aware. That's meditation.
I'm having like a reaction right now.
Okay.
Like when earlier when you said if you like you get if anybody has any questions. And then you're like, maybe you're all blissed out. And I'm just like, I'm not.
I'm not blissed out. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm not, I'm really not blissed out. And I really want to be blissed out and I'm not. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And like it's annoying. Like sitting for 20 minutes or whatever. It's like I can't relate to the
Totally.
invitation.
Totally okay. My meditations at first were there's restlessness. Okay, what's noticing restlessness? There's some silence in which the silence is my first kind of doorway, same as awareness, but and stillness. My body was restless. There was something that wasn't restless, and I'd notice stillness or awareness for like a nanosecond, and then immediately attention would go straight back to restlessness, and the body couldn't sit still. And okay, something notices that. I would use whatever was arising in phenomena to point me back to myself, stillness. Then the mind would be active and moving and talking. I would use that. And it was like this back and forth of attention. It would jump straight to a phenomenon, and I would use that to point me back to that which was aware, that which was just here. And then a nanosecond later, attention would jump right back. And it was this dance going on. Attention would go to some phenomenon, usually a thought or a sensation in the body or a sound. Then I'd bring it back to that which was noticing. And it'd just be like this for 20 minutes, back and forth. And that's a successful meditation. It's not about being blissed out. Being blissed out comes later when we don't actually need to be blissed out because we're kind of grooving on the equanimity that comes. Whatever phenomenon arises, whether positive or negative, It's all just fodder for my meditation, right? I can use anything from fear, bliss, restlessness, anger, jealousy, physical pain, anything. Dog barking outside to point me back to what's aware, just for a second, to notice something is aware, something is still, something is here, something is just being. Yeah.
So just do it if I'm open to it and just keep doing it.
And even if you're not open to it, right? If you're sitting in meditation like this, I don't want to do this, right? I don't
Yeah.
want to do this. This is ludicrous. Why is sitting here for 20 minutes going to make any difference in my life? You just notice that too, right? Something is aware of that too. You literally cannot get this wrong. That's why there's resistance, right? Because it's too simple. The mind says it's not going to actually make a difference.
Is it okay that I ask you a lot of questions?
Absolutely, yeah. Some people have a lot of questions, some people don't have any. Totally okay either way. And everyone's questions are helping everyone, right? Because you weren't the only one that said, I wasn't blissed out, you know? You know, the very first time I actually meditated, you probably might have heard me tell this story. Um, I wasn't using this technique here. I was using some weird energy thing that I was very weird, and I stopped it after a couple of times. But because I had no idea what meditation was and what it was supposed to be, I mean, I'd never even heard of meditation before until 2 weeks before I tried this one meditation. So I just sat down to see what would happen, right? And it was a guided thing. So I put my headphones on. Back in the old days, we had to actually have the proper headphones. And no idea what was going to happen. Suddenly there was this amazing bliss. Amazing. I think I was actually drooling, like when I came out of it after like half an hour or something. And my head had gone like this. I thought that was going to be like that every time. I couldn't wait to meditate again. Great, I've cracked it. Next time I sat down to meditate, there was just fear and anger and restlessness. And I think I was even like cursing and swearing. It was like I couldn't sit still. And my body was getting up and moving around the room, pacing around the room. I had to keep bringing it back. And it was like that for about 2 or 3 weeks every time. Like, I'm not doing this meditation thing, that it doesn't work, obviously. It's a trick. And this one time I thought I'm going to do it one more time and I'm going to give up. If it doesn't work today, then so be it, right? It doesn't work. I've tried it. I can tick it off my list. And I sat down to meditate again. There was all this anger. I mean, such rage. I'm not talking about, like passive aggressive. I'm talking like real rage, but real. Because I really wanted to feel that bliss again. I'd been trying to get back to it. And I just gave up in a meditation. Maybe I can't make anything happen. I just kind of accidentally gave up. Maybe I'm just going to be raging angry for 20 minutes, right? Nothing I can do. Can't change it. Next thing I know, like half an hour had gone past and I'm drooling again because I just stopped fighting accidentally, right? And it took me a while to realize that I'd stopped fighting, like why there was bliss. It's because I just wasn't resisting this moment at all. Totally accepted it as it is, but didn't realize I'd done that. That's what we're doing in our meditation here. We're just saying, okay, there's restlessness, so be it. I'll just use that in my meditation. If there's swearing and cursing, so be it. If there's rage, so be it. It doesn't matter whether it's bliss or fear or physical pain. It all can be used to point us back to that which is seeing it.
Thank you so much.
Everybody has those meditations, right? Please don't think I didn't. Yeah, just because I look kind of peaceful now, right? It wasn't always like that. You're doing great. You really are.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to finish with Irina. Hi there.
Hello, Helen.
Hi.
Yeah, I just really wanted to share what happened, been happening lately and happened today. Um, yeah, the silence, the stillness, the awareness has really been growing the last months, maybe year, and like deepening into everything,
Beautiful.
from nothing to everything.
Mm.
And like lately, like last week, I did the self-inquiry with you a few days ago.
Mm.
And it was very clear, very beautiful. And this morning I woke up, it seemed like my head was like, everything was just bigger. It's like airy feeling around, like everything expanded.
Mm.
And I really saw like that consciousness does not need a body to know itself.
Beautiful.
I understood it before, I looked into it, but this knowing was a bit different.
Yeah.
Deep,
It gets like
that's,
more obvious, right? More clear somehow. Just
yeah, and very clear when you see it so clear.
hmm
And I was kind of like this all day, and I was driving and listening to a beautiful song, Salutation to the Buddha, just really calm, wonderful. And in the intersection, there's a police car with a siren song needing to cross the intersection. So I stop, which I'm supposed to do, and still in that airy state, not state, just, yeah. And then car behind me, boom, like major rear ending me. He didn't see me stop or didn't see the police car, whatever. And the amazing thing that happened or didn't happen is nothing moved. Like nothing moved. It was like, oh, okay, like the body registered the shock.
Yeah.
The mind started, oh, like we need to do this now and that. How much is that gonna cost? Blah, blah, blah. Like planning, planning, planning. And like nothing moved in here. It was just happening. And it all turned out the best way possible because that police car that had the sirens on turned out to be my witness. Like what
Perfect.
else he asked for? And he said, like, the guy tried to get like, oh, she did this, that. The police guy said, no, 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 like she was right, you were wrong. So it was all beautiful. Yeah, but that, and then I was driving after that and I could feel the body, like the shaking started, the everything. And it was just, okay, you feel the body. But that stillness, it's still here. I could, and it's so beautiful.
It's total love, isn't it? Who we are. It's total love. It's like the body needs to shake or have a
Yeah.
moment or be scared or whatever, right? It's
Mhm.
totally everything out here and everything in here is just completely, totally allowed to exist as it is
Yeah.
for as long as it needs to be there.
It,
It's quite
it,
strange to go through something like that and still experience that peace and equanimity, even in the middle of the turbulence. And I think sometimes when something like that happens, you see just how far you've come in your awakening. It maybe wasn't quite so obvious, and then this happens, and you, wow, even when this is going on, there's something here that is just unable to push against or anything. It's
it,
love.
it just is. It's not moving. And it is love.
Yeah,
Like you said, it's that acceptance. Like there was zero anger to the guy who did this because it was realization there was no doer in there.
yeah,
Like he could have done, there's nobody there to do anything different.
yeah.
And there must have been so many reasons what could have caused it, like other people. And it's just this all one thing playing all these different colors. And
It's beautiful. And of course, you don't want to repeat this experience.
oh,
Of course, you don't. But you
yeah,
can, when you can see even this as something that's got a gift to give you, it's really quite amazing. I remember one time,
yes.
and again, you might have heard me say, where I was driving on the motorway in England, and I was doing about 70 miles an hour. I was actually on the speed limit, and somebody pulled in front of me, and I had to, my foot went on the brake automatically. And I didn't know if I was going to stop in time because I'd lost my distance, between me and the next car. And this guy just cut in front of me, and there was just this knowing that I was either going to be able to stop or not. And there was nothing, it was either going to I was going to hit him or I wasn't. And there was just absolute resignation into that. Well, almost like, let's see what happens then. And there was some fear in the body. Um, let's see what happens. Like I was watching a movie, like, oh, wow, this is interesting. I'm either going to leave the body or I'm not. And until I went through that experience, I didn't know that it was really possible like that, to just, there's nothing I can do here, right? It's my foot's on the brake already, the car's slowing down. It's either going to slow down in time or it won't. And it was this fear, like I said, but there was also this intense, intense peace. Like everything, all the sound outside just kind of went away. It was just a bit like being in this bubble of peace, and luckily I did stop in time. I managed to not hit the guy in front, and I pulled over later, and when I could, and stopped, and the body was shaking, like you said, and it was just like, this is just another part of the experience. Let the body shake and release the energy and all that stuff it needs to do. And it's just, we notice it in these big ways, but also the small ways. We're living more and more like this, right? In the no anger against the person who, hit you because you're not doing it. You're not a doer. They're not a doer. Nobody's a doer. And yeah, had to be a reason why it had to happen, right? Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And mine can go into stories about it,
Yeah.
like, oh, he had to see something, I had to see
Yeah.
something. Well, maybe,
Yeah.
but it's
Who
like that
knows? Yeah.
piece, who knows?
Yeah. Wow. I love to hear about stuff like that because it's how awakening really changes our life, doesn't it? In very ordinary but also extraordinary ways. It's uh there was one more time really quick where I was reversing out of a parking space in England again. And I looked behind me and nobody was moving. And there was a car, me and this other car started to reverse at the exact same moment. We didn't see each other because we both started at the exact same moment. And we just lightly touched each other's bumper, right? And we got out and we had this conversation and we ended up talking about meditation. In the end, like we had to move the cars out of the way and we ended up talking about meditation, having a really good laugh and pointed him to our website in the end because he was looking for some meditation. And I was just thinking in the middle of the supermarket car park, right, coming out the store with all my groceries and getting in the car, and then there's this beautiful meeting of bumpers, or it's really quite quite wonderful way to live.
I mean, it's magical. Yeah.
Life is mysterious. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's good to hear these everyday moments of success, going through something challenging and still knowing that we can retain our equanimity in that. Yeah. Beautiful.
And
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for your teachings, Helen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's a wonderful place to leave it for today. Thank you all for your beautiful sharings and your honesty. And as we were saying, some people have many questions, some people don't, and it's perfectly normal either way, completely. So everyone's sharing is helping everyone. And even if we can't find the courage to share and you want to, still your participation here is your um presence here is just adding to this wonderful energy that builds in which we can all have these breakthroughs and see things clearer and maybe just come to rest a little bit deeper each day in who we really are. So thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.